After the Holocaust, with the loss of so much family, my children remind me this very often. They say, even though, Mom, you grew up without having a lot of your Jewish family around you, especially when we were in Poland, we had none.
Right.
But in Israel, I had aunts and uncles and an extended family and that entire Jewish environment. So my children say to me, you had this Jewish environment around you as you were growing up. You were able to absorb that sense of Jewishness and Yiddishkeit. And it's different for us because we're not religious. And we don't have our grandparents around. You grew up in a home after you were 16 that was speaking Yiddish almost exclusively. We don't have that. So how do you transmit that? When our children were young, they went to the Yiddish schools, the Arbitering Yiddish schools. They went to Camp Hemshech. Briefly, they didn't seem to be very well cut out for camp life, I think, my daughter especially. But they did go, and we did our best to get that across. And so that we end up following the traditions and the holidays a lot more assiduously than we did back when my parents were alive, in an effort to transmit the Jewishness to our children and grandchildren. My daughter discussed with me extensively about whether her son, that's my only grandson, whether he should have a bar mitzvah. And I said, I'll tell you what, your grandfather will probably turn on his grave because he was not a religious man. And he wouldn't be happy about Michael having a bar mitzvah. But I think you should have a bar mitzvah, not because I'm religious, but because it will give him a sense of Jewishness, especially because he lives in Italy and he's not surrounded by a Jewish community. So I was instrumental in finding a rabbi who was open-minded and wanted to take on a family like ours. And Michael studied Hebrew and studied the chanting, and he read the Torah. We didn't go to a synagogue because we are not members of a synagogue. But we chose an Italian restaurant in Manhattan to have his bar mitzvah. And he wore his grandfather's tallis. The grandfather on the other side, not my father. And we did it to transmit a sense of culture and identity.